Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're doing something that has been requested so many times, and we planned to do it a couple of times. It just never went very well, so we had to keep postponing it. But what I'm talking about is our floating nets. So Andy has one, I have one. All of you loved it and everyone kept asking, how did you make it? Where did you get it from? And that's what the video is going to be about today. I'm going to show you how I made my floating net. Of course, the idea of a floating net is not something we ourselves came up for. It's not an original idea. There are floating nets already in the market. Savage Gear makes one for people that go on belly boats, and they're quite heavy, quite bulky, so it's not necessarily ideal for people that want to travel lightly. There's also the net that Andy has, which is made by Glenn Poynton, as you can see on the sticker here. And Glenn is a phenomenal angler and he's quite local to us as well, and he makes these fantastic nets. Unfortunately, they're not easy to get a hold of. I know that a lot of people would probably want to, but it's not that easy to get them, so we made one ourselves. Talking about what is a floating net, it's exactly what it is. It's a scoop net that you would hang on your back, and it's very portable and you can take it everywhere with you. But once it's in the water, it will float, which means the fish is more than comfortably safe. You don't have to worry about constantly holding the net, which means your hands are going to be free as well. You can rest your rod on here if you don't fancy the good old rod in the mouth or rod on the shoulders. There's just so many benefits of a floating net. So more benefits for the floating net, one of them being that it's super easy and convenient for taking pictures. So if you are the type of angler that you like to capture your catches, you can easily, while you're wanting to take your camera and get your camera ready, you can easily have the fish in the net safely, not having to worry about what you're going to do with it, holding the net or having to take the fish to the bank. It's just overall a lot easier. Also, for fish that are perhaps a bit more tired and need resting, you can safely put the fish in the net. You can easily tie it up somewhere on the lanyard next to the bank. Make sure that the fish is recovering safely while you fish for 5 minutes, then you can easily come back to it and release it. So loads of benefits for us as anglers and for fish as well, for fish welfare especially. With the floating net, let's see what stuff we need to make one. It's definitely not a lot and it's super easy to make and it's relatively cheap as well. So I have with me some cable ties. I have some insulation, like pipe insulation foam type of stuff. And you will also need a net and some scissors. So with the pipe, try and be careful, because I bought a pipe insulation that doesn't look really good, so we didn't use it. Andy went and bought something a bit more appropriately. This is like really flimsy, and to be honest, it's probably really great for pipes for what it's designed for, but I don't think it would be the best thing for a floating net. So we will keep that one aside. With the one that Andy bought, so inside diameter is 15 millimeters and the outside, like the squidgy thickness here, is 9 millimeters. The one that I was using before, the one that I just took off the net, thank you my assistant Andy, was 13 millimeters thickness, so it was way too thick. It was a bit more bulky. It didn't need it. It was the one that we had available, and that was basically why we used it. So we bought a thinner one this time. It will still do the job absolutely fine. It will look slightly better and also will be a little bit less bulky. So what's next to do now is making a floating net. I have my net right here. I have some scissors next to me. I have some cable ties. I have my thing. So I'm gonna measure, go with the pipe around my net, measure how long I need it, cut the pipe, and anyway, you're gonna be able to see it on the camera. Let's crack on. So as I found out fairly recently since making the floating nets, when you buy the pipe insulation, it comes with a little slit on the side that makes your life easier. You can just separate it and the job is done for you. So that can fit now around my net. So at this point, I've checked, I'm happy with the way my pipe insulation is around my net. Now you kind of need to decide which end of the net is going to be the top, which one is going to be bottom. For me, my bottom, of course, is this side. So I'm going to make sure that my cable ties, the bit that is going to stick out, is going to be at the back of my net. And that is because the end of the cable ties are going to be quite sharp, and obviously we don't want fish or yourself to get in contact with them. Right, so with cable ties, I'm going to start at the top or middle, or whatever way you want to call it, of my net, and then work my way around it. This means that I can stretch it if I need it along the way, and it's not going to be bulged up. So at the moment, my little net looks like a little hedgehog. We're going to fix that. What I'm going to do is, before we cut all these ends off, I'm not sure why I'm showing that, we're going to try and turn these as much to the end as possible, so when I'm using my net this way, they're not getting in contact with me and I'm not hurting myself or the fish. Pipe insulation is brilliant and it's fairly strong, but still try not to turn the cable ties too much in because it can split the insulation pipe. Now what's left to do is cut the ends as close to the cable ties as possible. So they all look fairly good now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around all of them and cinch the ends with a lighter. They're fairly sharp at the moment, and if you cinch them down, they will smooth out. So if the fish ever does come in contact with one of the cable ties, it's not going to cause the fish any damage. So I'm going to turn all the cable ties all the way in as close to my mesh and the net as possible. And I think we're about done. Right, so I am very happy with this now, and we're pretty much done. All of you that watch all of our videos, you probably noticed that on my version before this, I had a little piece of foam on my net handle as well, but in fairness, it doesn't really need it. Unless you have quite a heavy net, I don't think it did anything because my net is not that big anyway or that heavy. So this one is gonna do absolutely fine, and my net will float perfectly. And there you have it. We just took an absolute ordinary net into a super safe for fish, very convenient for anglers, floating net that didn't cost more than probably about £2. So it was super easy to make, very quick, very cheap. And honestly, guys, it's the most convenient and safe fishing net that you can have when you're out on the rivers. I think that will wrap this video up. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and please do share with me on social media once you make your own floating net. I'm very, very keen to see it. But now I have to mention and tease you guys a little bit. Me and Andy just came back from 7 days of fishing in Slovenia, and we have so much cool footage to show. It's going to be a whole mini series, and we're going to insert a teaser clip right now.
Here it comes. Got it. Yes. Woo! Absolutely love it.
Like I said, there's going to be a lot of cool videos coming up soon, a lot of cool fish. So stay tuned for that. Also, I hope you enjoy this. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a nice comment for me below. I always enjoy them. And guys, I will see you in the next video.